Oh my gosh, welcome everybody. We have a hell of a show today. I mean, let's be honest. It's been a hell of a week in the days of our Montecito lives. And in preparation, I got all lobstered out. I got the earrings and I got a special order of the lobster pin made. What? Shout out to all my exoskeletons out there. You know who you are. We're the ones who might be a little crusty on the outside, but we're actually soft and gooey on the inside. All right, so today we've got Harry v. the Daily Mail. What's going on with that? The insane bill Canadian taxpayers were left with. I mean, it's a lot, you guys. We've got the Sussexes plummeting popularity. I don't know how it could get any worse. And then, of course, we've got Meghan's big week. It's a lot going on, guys. But let's start with this, shall we? Because this week, Harry hid out in Montecito while the legal team for the Associated Newspapers, aka the publisher of the Daily Mail, asked the High Court in London for an interim payment of, I love this so much, £10 million, or 13.3 million for us Americans, toward an overall $34.5 million legal bill, arguing for indemnity costs due to the claimant's unreasonable conduct. And of course, Prince Harry's post-ruling foot-stamping statement. That poor guy. Whew, what a dork. The legal team labeled statements made by Prince Harry and Baroness Doreen Lawrence, calling the judge's dismissal a complete and obvious whitewash as an inappropriate abuse of celebrity status that added to the unreasonable behavior. I mean, they're not wrong, shall we? But let's look at these legal costs because it's a lot, all right? Harry and the company, they do have legal insurance, all right? That legal insurance covers, or should cover, if the legal insurance pays out, which there's some doubt it might, £16.2 million. The court was told, which would then leave them more than $18.3 million short. However, again, it remains to be seen if the insurance will pay out anything at all, because you know they're going to fight it. All right. Meanwhile, Harry and Company, led by Barrister Nicholas Bacon, KC, notice David Sherborne, who is not a KC, is in hiding since the loss. Well, Bacon countered A&L's £10 million demand by offering an interim payment of roughly $8 million to be paid by August 28th. He characterized this as a generous offer under the circumstances. Not quite sure what circumstances he's talking about, because it sounds to me like the circumstances are you lost, you lied, and now you got to pay. Moving on. Bacon then argued that A&L's $34.5 million legal bill was completely disproportionate, pointing out that the publisher had exceeded its court-approved legal budget by over $18.6 million. But of course it did, you guys. Do you understand? These guys are 1.5 thousand pounds an hour. They had an entire team pouring through 25 years of emails. Of course, it went over what the cap of 4 million or something stupid was. All right. The defense team argued that Prince Harry and the other celebrities brought the claim in good faith out of decades of intense, intrusive media scrutiny into their private lives. They stressed that the court found no dishonesty or bad faith in their personal contact, making an indemnity penalty unjustified and manifestly unfair. As for Harry's statement, well, his lawyer Bacon stated that the post-ruling statement issued by Prince Harry and Baroness Lawrence calling the verdict a complete whitewash was entirely separate from the trial itself. saying the costs need to be ordered at this hearing concern the action itself, not the reaction to it, he told the judge. So what does this all mean? Well, a friend of mine who has Commonwealth legal experience broke it down for me, and I need to share it with you. She said, the important part people are missing is the 18.3 million is not automatically Harry or Elton's personal bill. Now, remember, I've been saying, and it's been quoted in the Times of London, saying that Harry and Elton both said that they would cover everyone's legal bills, because it's not like Doreen Lawrence, Elizabeth Hurley, Sadie Frost, or Sir Simon whatever has the money. All right. So they've always said, we'll cover the cost. Harry has come out and said, I'm covering Doreen's, which is why I believe Doreen agreed to put her name to the signature that Harry and David Sherborne created. So back to what the explanation, the court has to decide what costs are actually recoverable and how responsibility is divided between the 7 claimants. If the court gives each claimant a separate share and one person genuinely cannot pay theirs, of course, they have to prove they can't pay. You don't just get to say, sorry, I can't afford it. The other claimants don't automatically have to pick up that person's unpaid debt, even if they promise to. However, if the court makes the claimants jointly and severably liable, the situation is very different. The Daily Mail could potentially seek the outstanding money from one or more of the claimants who can pay, aka Harry and Elton. That person could then seek a contribution from the claimant who couldn't pay. So hypothetically, this is just hypothetical, if 7 people were responsible for 18 million pounds and one couldn't pay their portion, the other claimants could potentially end up carrying more of the financial burden, depending on the court's order. That's why the exact wording of the costs order is so important. And if Harry personally couldn't or simply didn't want to pay an amount he was ordered to pay, the Daily Mail could pursue the usual legal enforcement options rather than the debt simply disappearing, because it doesn't, BT Dub. As for King Charles, a lot of people are saying, oh, King Charles would pay. Yes, he could privately choose to help Harry financially, but neither the king, the royal family, nor the British taxpayer is automatically responsible for Harry's private legal costs. And come the next financial year, King Charles, if he did pay, would have that amount show up on his financial statements in the next fiscal year. And the question would be, is he likely to run the gauntlet of the English public with that being visible? I don't think he would, guys. I really don't. Regardless, we're not going to find out Justice Nicklin's decision until August 17th. We got like 2.5 more weeks of this. It's insane. And that is all according to reporter Robert Jobson. And Robert Jobson is a wonderful reporter. So we got another 2.5 weeks of this shenanigans, a lot of fronting. It's going to be great. But we got some more interesting news for old Hair Bear, just as the costs. And this is all about taxpayers and what people are willing to front and what they're willing to put up with. Now, I don't think the public is willing to put up with King Charles giving his son that money. The taxpayers all around the Commonwealth are not willing either, because now we come to the Canada Bill. And according to a bombshell report yesterday, Canadian taxpayers, you lucky guys, spent more to protect Prince Harry over 5 years during his visits to Canada than any other internationally protected person over the same period, including Harry's father, King Charles. It's insane. According to the document obtained by CBC News under Canada's Access to Information Law, the RCMP spent at least, because there are still some costs coming down the road. $539,575 to provide security between 2015 and 2020, when Prince Harry traveled to Canada for events like the Invictus Games, and also for his love life when he met and dated his future wife, Meghan Markle. Now, this 539 plus change, $1,000, is way more than the initial $339,000 initially reported. That's why they had to go to the judge, get it all out. Nobody really wants that there. The cost to protect Prince Harry and later his wife accounted for around 10% of the over $5.2 million spent during that period to provide security to more than 100 internationally protected persons who visited Canada. However, the list does not, and this is why we say initial costs, the list doesn't include expenses for other members of the royal family like Princess Anne or Prince Edward, who visited Canada. And by the way, they visited Canada in the same period. They're not on that list, BT dubs. During that period, on what were described as private working visits under international conventions, when individuals on the internationally protected person list visit Canada, the RCMP is tasked with assuring their security, regardless of whether the trip is official, for business, or in Harry's case, personal. The costs outlined in the document cover incremental expenses like travel and overtime, but not the basic salaries of police officers, meaning the full cost is always going to be hired. So let's look at where the money went and why. This drives me bonkers. I'm going to read this out because I know the words are a little small on there. All right, so the summary, 2016 and 2017, $105,955 was spent during that year where Prince Harry met Meghan Markle. Met her in July 2016, and the expenses correspond to travel to Toronto while dating, where Meghan was living and filming the drama Suits. They're kind of cute. You want to go somewhere? Don't worry, taxpayers will pay for it. All right, so the next year, 2017 and 18, was the biggest year, where they incurred $364,859 from the taxpayers for security. This was peak security expenditure, where he did major public engagements in Toronto, including the Invictus Games, a WE Day celebration, and a reception for the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award recipients. And of course, that was the year, soon after meeting, like TikTok, 6 months, the couple announced their engagement in November, meaning she also was protected. The next year, 2018 and 19, only $11,800 plus was spent, including $10,586 in costs for Meghan's 3-day visit to Toronto, because she had moved over to England by then, but she wanted to visit her then best friend Jessica Mulroney in August of 2018. They were still talking. So she flies over to Toronto for 3 days and basically costs taxpayers $11,000, but who cares? Ain't her cash, right? 2019 and 2020, 57,000 plus change dollars were spent covering the transition period when the couple decided to step back from royal duties. In January of 2020, remember the Freedom Flight, leading to the end of their taxpayer-funded RCMP protection. First of all, no wonder they want it back. That is so much money to pay out of pocket. But also, you guys, this is what Harry has expected his whole life. He just assumes everyone will jump and protect him. And of course, Meghan. They cost us all a lot of money. And by all, Yes, even the Americans, but the British, can you imagine what the British were spending on them? Millions for them to faff about. I mean, and they wonder why people can't stand them. I mean, especially in the UK, where they still want to be treated like royalty and continually fight for taxpayer funded protection because, God forbid, they should pay for it. However, the Brits are like, hell no. They're also really annoyed with this entire fight, and it affected their popularity a lot. Now, we do have to say that this YouGov poll, it is for the second quarter of the year, from April through the end of June. Okay, this did just come out. It does not cover their actual visit to the UK. All right, so that is going to be released in the fall, and we'll see how they did. Some local polls in the UK suggested that maybe they got a boost from their visit, which is so bizarre. But let's go through this, because this covers, the second quarter does cover when he lost a lot of his whining, a lot of his shenanigans, of course, Invictus and their financial weirdness. So YouGov, again, just released this. And Meghan, by the way, has hit an all-time low with an approval rating of 18% and a net score of -43. Now, Harry did somewhat better with a 27% favorable and 58% unfavorable rating. But we gotta point out, guys, this is the UK poll, and this is important. They do a little bit better in the States. They do about 10% better in the States. But the issue is they want to spend more time in the UK, and they are historically unpopular. Now, this week, Harry has hidden away with his security friends on the estate in Montecito, presumably playing nanny and looking after the children. But Meghan, nope, not Meghan. She is out and about. And we're going to talk about this pic. I got a lot of shit for her. All right. She did start the week by releasing her summer family vacation pics, including the ones of family fun in Portugal, family fun in the UK at Althorpe, and also this weirdo one in Lake Scotland, which I said was Loch Ossian. Now, I know many of you do not believe they were actually there or in Scotland. However, you guys need to note, this trip was said, Harry said it, Meghan said it, to be about Harry taking his kids to see all the places H loved when he was growing up. And while Loch Ossian is a 3-hour drive from Balmoral, by the way, I know Brits think that's far, but 3 hours for Americans is like going to Costco. It ain't no big deal. It is near a friend of the family's estate and a short helicopter ride away from Balmoral. Now, of course, the king and queen were not there, but presumably Harry and Meghan did get to show their kids his lovely memories of Scotland. Either way, the pics prove that the family could indeed get around the country without taxpayer-funded police protection. So once again, they proved themselves wrong. So after Meghan did that lovely mashup, then we had her MasterChef Australia guest spot debut. Jesus. Which, of course, was recorded during her and Harry's private tour of Australia. And I say private because really we all know it was a quasi-royal tour, the one where they were like, yes, we are working and we do tours. So what? It's the same thing. Oh, my God. And of course, during her weird performative time on the show, her love showed up again in a totally unplanned FaceTime call, which is becoming something of a habit of his and hers, where Meghan has him spontaneously just pop in during work calls or events, just to remind us all that she indeed bagged a prince. it's getting crazy, guys. I mean, this sort of spontaneous, impulsive, and totally not premeditated appearance by Harry is starting to be a long-running gag at this point. I mean, let's go through it, shall we? It's happened so many times before. Like in 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, when Meghan held a virtual video call with a client from her patronage, SmartWorks. And Harry just happened to pop in to make a cameo. Again in 2021, during the launch of her 40 by 40 membership initiative. Remember that initiative that went nowhere when she turned 40? He also made an appearance. And later that same year, during a Global Citizen Vax Live video, Harry walked into the background of their home in Montecito in the shot just to wave at the camera. Kind of like, of course, I'm here, guys. And then in 2022, during her Archetypes podcast debut with Serena Williams, the debut that went nowhere, Hazza once again dropped in unannounced to say hello. How many times we got to do this, guys? We get it, Meghan. You married a royal, and you two are a team. Meanwhile, during the masterclass filming, the MasterChef filming, she naturally brought her own team, aka her entourage, because we all know you ain't a duchess without no entourage. And what duchess relies on a TV show's own team of professional hair and makeup? And she's got her own. It's insane. She also, by the way, had to pay for their airfare tickets, or someone did. Great. Although, considering her look, I like to call it the MAGA hair curtains. You know how everyone in MAGA world has these hair curtains? It's a little like 2024, early 2025, but that's Meghan with her hair curtains and all. And frankly, I mean, maybe she just should have left her squad at home, because everyone else on MasterChef looked great. Meanwhile, UK tabloid reports claimed production insiders found her visit demanding on set. Call me crazy. However, and again, as always, MasterChef producers and crew members pushed back on TikTok, saying she was professional, polite to staff, and brought a small team, and was genuinely warm with the crew and contestants throughout the filming, because of course she was. We all know how genuinely warm and lovely and polite she is to the little people. God, I'm glad that's over. That poor girl. I mean, here she is, not even a chef or a master of cooking, couldn't even come up with her favorite dish, which frankly she should have said was my roast chicken, the dish she got Harry to marry her with. No, she couldn't come up with that, but that's okay. She's a master chef. She likes different flavors and herbs and spices. This is bonkers, you guys. And then, of course, another big thing. Cookie Queens. Yeah. That old documentary she slapped her name on, the one about Girl Scouts and how they manipulate and they are kind of mean to each other and how cute ones only win and all the weird, sad subtext that I've gone with you before. Well, she slapped her name on it as an executive producer, which means the producers of Cookie Queens thought, yeah, let's bring her on. She might get us some publicity, but also she'll probably get us into Netflix. However, as I broke the news, what was it, earlier this year? It feels like 5 years ago. No, Netflix passed. Do you know why? Because it's Cookie Queens. However, Meghan left Harry at home, arrived solo, and told The Hollywood Reporter another heartwarming story that Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet were thrilled about her work on the project, highlighting broad themes of female entrepreneurship and community. Because I don't know if you know this, FYI, 5 and 7-year-olds totally get thrilled about that kind of stuff. I mean, F Legos and F Oreos. No, it's all about female empowerment for 5 and 7-year-olds. And for good measure, Meghan also threw in more Hallmark card crap, like claiming Harry told her this. Okay, she said, I was thinking about something my husband told me ages ago, because we all go through experiences and life is full of surprises. But he He was a helicopter pilot. I mean, quotes are mine, by the way, in the British Army for 10 years. And sometimes on really hard days, once he said, "Hey, but my love, even if there's a storm happening, above the storm, the sun's always shining." I'm sorry. The gag reflex is strong with that one. And in fact, I don't know why when I read that quote, for some reason, I have to go back to it because I always say it in a Celine Dion voice. So it would go like, "But my love, even if there is a storm happening, about the storm, the sun, it is always shining." Yeah, I don't know why. It just strikes me as something Celine would say, except for Celine, I wouldn't gag on it. I'd be like, "Oh, that's just Celine." Bless her. Meanwhile, to end it all, yeah, that's right. She's still flogging this dead ass horse as ever. She was excited for something new, pumped it all week. I've got something new and exciting. And it was Blackberry fruit spread. I mean, okay, this is bonkers, you guys. Blackberry fruit spread. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Meghan is about to lose control, and I think she likes it. Oh my gosh, God bless him. It was a hell of a week in Montecito, Monteshit show, as many of you like to call it. And that is what happened on the days of our Montecito lives this week. And through it all, I made Doug watch it with me. So hold on. He's going to give you some thoughts. Oh, yeah, he's growling because I made him watch it all. He was unhappy with it, weren't you, Turd? He was. But you know what? He knows that it gives me joy. It's my soap opera. And he's a stay-at-home dog. He don't make no bills. So I make him watch it with me. I know. Oh, all right, let's go back to bed. That's what stay-at-home dogs do. They get their belly rubbed, they sleep, they eat, they hunt for treats. All right, you guys, I appreciate you. I thank you. I mean, I really love this community. You guys are the bomba. Remember, like, subscribe, hit the hype. And if you don't like my hair, keep it to yourself. Ha! All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.